Hello everyone, welcome back to Learn English at Home community. Today, I have a question for you. Have you ever stared at a page in English and thought, why is this so tough? You're not alone. Most English learners hit roadblocks, new words, slow reading, or simply losing interest. Let me tell you a secret. These challenges are universal, not personal failures. Reading in a second language introduces what's called cognitive load. Your brain juggles understanding words and making sense of meaning at the same time. Imagine running a race while solving math problems. Now, you might be thinking, shouldn't it get easier with time? Absolutely, and that's why I'm here today to unpack practical ways to boost your reading skills step by step. Before we dive into tips, remember, learning is a journey, not a finish line. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to keep moving. So, let's start building those reading muscles with strategies that work for real people, just like you. Here's the first piece of the puzzle. Know your level. Why does this matter? Suppose you try reading advanced medical journals when you're just starting out. You'll feel overwhelmed and discouraged. There's something called input hypothesis in language learning. It says you should read material that's slightly above your current level, challenging, but not impossible. Think of it as lifting weights that are just heavy enough to make you stronger, not to injure you. But how do you actually find your level? Try free online placement tests or look up the C4 levels A1 for beginners, C2 for near native. Sample a few texts and see which one feels comfortable yet stretches you. If you're not sure, always err on the side of easier. Confidence grows faster than frustration. Finding your level is the first victory. It sets you up for progress, not disappointment. Let's talk about goals. Why do so many learners quit after a week? Because their targets are too vague or huge. I'll read a novel in a week. Sounds inspiring, right? But it often leads to burnout. Instead, try micro goals. For example, read for 10 minutes a day or learn 5 new words from each text. These are what psychologists call SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Now, you might be wondering, will small goals really help me improve? Absolutely. Each small win builds your motivation, kind of like earning points in a game. Every time you reach a goal, your brain releases dopamine, a feel-good neurotransmitter. That's motivation science in action. Start tiny. Grow your goals as you improve. That's the smart and sustainable way to progress. Here's a simple trick. Read what you love. Sounds obvious, but it's easy to forget when we feel like we should read textbooks or news articles. Ever heard of intrinsic motivation? It's when your drive comes from genuine interest, not outside pressure. If you love football, read match reports. If you're into cooking, try English recipes. Now imagine forcing yourself through a dense economics article when you really want to read about travel. Which one will keep you turning pages? When you're curious, you naturally absorb more vocabulary and grammar. It's like learning to swim by playing in the pool instead of memorizing rules. So, honor your interests. Make reading feel less like a chore and more like an adventure. Let's step out of that comfort zone. If you always read the same type of text, your vocabulary and comprehension get stuck. There's a concept called genre exposure. It means reading a variety of format stories, news, product reviews, poems. Each introduces unique words and writing styles. Now, you might be asking, will this really make a difference? Imagine learning only sports words. What happens when you need to read a work email or a recipe? Diversifying helps you handle English in real-life situations, from understanding instructions to enjoying novels. Try something new each week. Over time, you'll be amazed at your growing flexibility and confidence. Now for the golden rule. Consistency beats intensity. Reading for 15 minutes a day is more effective than cramming for 2 hours once a week. This is called distributed practice learning that's spread out over time. It's like watering a plant a little every day instead of flooding it once a week. You might wonder, can just 10 minutes a day really help? Absolutely. Over 6 months, that's more than 30 hours of reading. Small, regular practice keeps your brain engaged with English, making it less foreign and more familiar. Make reading a habit, like brushing your teeth. The results will surprise you. Let's talk about a common trap, trying to understand every single word. It's easy to get stuck, but language experts recommend top-down processing. That means focusing on the main idea first. Ever tried reading a text and stopping for every unknown word? Exhausting, right? Instead, start by skimming reading quickly to get the gist. Now, picture this. You're reading about a football match and see the word offside. Even if you don't know it, you can guess from the context it's probably a football term. Over time, your brain learns to fill in the gaps. That's contextual inference guessing meaning from clues. So next time, relax. Focus on the big picture first, then dig into details if you need to. Let's boost your memory with a simple strategy. After reading, write a quick summary. It's called active recall, forcing your brain to remember, not just recognize. Active recall is a proven learning hack. When you write a 1 or 2 sentence summary, you're making the knowledge stick. Think of it like this. Reading is pouring water into a cup, but summarizing puts a lid on it, keeping the information inside. You might ask, do I need to write a whole essay? No way. Even simple notes help. For example, this story was about a girl who found a lost dog. Try this after every reading session. You'll remember more, and your writing skills will improve too. Are you a passive reader, an active one? The best readers constantly ask questions and make predictions. This is called critical engagement. Instead of drifting through the text, stop and ask, why did the character do that? Or, what might happen next? Now, you might be thinking, will this slow me down? Maybe a little, but it makes reading deeper and more memorable. When you predict, you're building a mental map. If your guess is right, it's rewarding. If not, you still learn by correcting your understanding. So, turn reading into a little game. Ask, guess, check. That's how you become a truly engaged reader. Let's make your practice more powerful. Pair reading with listening. This is called multimodal learning using both your eyes and ears. Suppose you have an audiobook and the text. Read and listen together. You'll learn correct pronunciation and rhythm, 2 things that silent reading alone can't give you. Now, you might wonder, is this really necessary? For tough words, hearing and seeing them together helps you remember and pronounce them accurately. No audiobook? No problem. Use text-to-speech tools online. Just copy your text and let the computer read it aloud. With this method, you're not just reading better, you're building listening and speaking skills at the same time. Finally, let's talk reflection. After finishing a text, don't just move on. Take a minute to think about what you learned and how you felt. This is called metacognition, thinking about your own learning process. Ask yourself, was this text hard? Did I enjoy it? Why or why not? If something was too tough, that's a clue to pick easier material next time. If you learned new words, celebrate that progress. Reviewing a text after a few days is called spaced repetition. It strengthens your memory and understanding. Reflection isn't just for teachers. It's your tool for learning smarter, not harder. Make it a habit and watch your English reading soar. So, what's the real goal here? Not perfection, but progress and pleasure. Reading in English is your ticket to a bigger world, full of stories, cultures, and ideas. Let me tell you a story. I've seen learners start with comic strips and end up reading novels, all because they kept going, even when it felt tough. You might think, but I still get confused sometimes. That's normal. Every new word or sentence is a step forward, not a setback. Remember, English is a tool to connect, learn, and explore, not a test to pass. The only way to fail is to quit. So, keep reading, keep enjoying, and trust that your skills will grow. I believe in you, and I can't wait to hear about your next reading adventure.